U.S. intelligence warns of space race with China and Russia. U.S. intelligence officials have warned of a new space race between the United States, China, and Russia. The officials said that the three countries are developing new technologies that could threaten the stability of space. Russia-Ukraine war. Norway pledges to send F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. Norway has become the third country to pledge to send F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine, after the United States and the Netherlands. The announcement comes as Russia intensifies its attacks on Ukrainian cities, including the capital Kyiv. China begins military drills around Taiwan as stern warning. China has begun military drills around Taiwan, in what it says is a stern warning to the island's independent supporters. The drills come amid heightened tensions between China and Taiwan, which Beijing considers its own territory. Putin blames West for Ukraine war after drone attacks on Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused Western countries of provoking the conflict in Ukraine and supporting terrorists who attacked Russian military facilities in Crimea with drones. He also warned of a catastrophe if NATO expands eastward. U.S. intelligence community boosts focus on climate crisis, supply chains, pandemics. The U.S. intelligence community has announced a new strategy to address the emerging threats posed by the climate crisis, global supply chain disruptions and pandemics. The strategy aims to enhance collaboration, innovation and diversity within the intelligence agencies and with their partners. Ethiopia's Tigray rebels say they have seized key town of Dessie. Rebels from Ethiopia's northern Tigray region have claimed to have captured the strategic town of Dessie, which lies on a major road linking the capital Addis Ababa with the north. The government has not confirmed or denied the claim, but has urged civilians to join the fight against the rebels. Afghanistan. Taliban announced new rules for female students. The Taliban have announced new rules for female students in Afghanistan, including wearing an abaya, a loose-fitting robe, and niqab, a face veil, studying separately from men, and having only female teachers or older male teachers approved by the Taliban. The rules have been criticized by human rights groups and activists as discriminatory and oppressive. France to return looted Benin artifacts by 2025. France has agreed to return 26 artifacts looted from Benin during colonial times by 2025, as part of a wider commitment to repatriate African cultural heritage. The artifacts include royal statues, thrones and scepters that were taken by French troops in 1892. Australia to conduct more joint patrols with Philippines in South China Sea. Australia has announced that it will conduct more joint patrols with the Philippines in the South China Sea. The move is seen as a response to China's increasing militarization of the disputed waters. Japan delays Moon Sniper mission launch to August 27 due to bad weather. Japan has delayed the launch of its Moon Sniper mission to August 27 due to bad weather. The mission aims to send a spacecraft to the moon to collect samples of lunar regolith. Disclosing disturbing text messages sent by Lucy Letby during murder spree. Police in the UK have disclosed disturbing text messages sent by Lucy Letby, a nurse who is accused of murdering 8 babies and attempting to murder 6 others. The messages suggest that Letby was aware of her actions and that she took pleasure in them. Australian state to pay $243 million for pulling out of Commonwealth Games. The Australian state of Queensland has agreed to pay $243 million for pulling out of the 2022 Commonwealth Games. The state government had originally pledged to host the Games, but later withdrew due to financial concerns. Flooding in China kills at least 12 people, displaces thousands. Flooding in central China has killed at least 12 people and displaced thousands more. The floods have been caused by heavy rains that have lashed the region in recent days. Wildfires continue to rage in California, Oregon, and Washington. Wildfires continue to rage in California, Oregon, and Washington, destroying homes and businesses and forcing thousands of people to evacuate. The fires have been caused by a combination of hot, dry weather and high winds. Hurricane Dorian makes landfall in the Bahamas as a Category 5 storm. Hurricane Dorian has made landfall in the Bahamas as a Category 5 storm, the strongest hurricane to hit the country in recorded history. The storm has caused widespread damage and is expected to bring heavy rains and flooding to the region. Elon Musk threatens to sue Twitter over report of rising hate speech. Elon Musk, the world's richest man, has threatened to sue Twitter over a report that the social media platform is not doing enough to combat hate speech. Musk, who is in the process of buying Twitter, has said that he will make the platform a platform for free speech. SpaceX Starship prototype undergoes static fire test. SpaceX's Starship prototype underwent a static fire test on June 20, 2023. The test was successful, and it paves the way for the rocket to undergo its first orbital flight in the coming months. Sri Lanka declares state of emergency after violent protests. Sri Lanka has declared a state of emergency after violent protests over the country's economic crisis. The protests, which have been ongoing for weeks, turned violent on Friday, with police firing tear gas and water cannons at demonstrators. U.S. Supreme Court to hear case on affirmative action in college admissions. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear a case on affirmative action in college admissions. The case, which is being brought by a group of Asian American students, challenges the use of race as a factor in college admissions. Israel and Morocco sign agreement to normalize relations. Israel and Morocco have signed an agreement to normalize relations, in a major diplomatic breakthrough. The agreement, which was announced on Thursday, comes after years of secret negotiations. North Korea fires suspected ballistic missile into the sea. North Korea has fired a suspected ballistic missile into the sea. The launch, which was the latest in a series of missile tests by the North, comes amid rising tensions on the Korean peninsula. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope releases first images. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope has released its first images, and they are some of the most detailed images of the universe ever taken. The images show distant galaxies, nebulae, and star clusters, and they offer a glimpse into the early universe. China's top diplomat visits Solomon Islands amid security concerns. China's top diplomat, Wang Yi, has visited the Solomon Islands amid concerns about the country's security agreement with China. The agreement has raised fears that China could establish a military presence in the region. Russia says it has destroyed Ukrainian military sites with cruise missiles. Russia has said that it has destroyed Ukrainian military sites with cruise missiles. The strikes, which took place overnight, targeted airfields, ammunition depots, and other military infrastructure. U.S. and allies to announce new sanctions on Russia. The United States and its allies are expected to announce new sanctions on Russia on Monday. The sanctions are likely to target Russia's economy and financial system. UN Security Council to hold meeting on Ukraine. The UN Security Council will hold a meeting on Ukraine on Monday. The meeting is expected to focus on the humanitarian situation in the country. EU to provide €1 billion in aid to Ukraine. The European Union has agreed to provide €1 billion in aid to Ukraine. The aid will be used to help the country with its humanitarian needs. Hundreds of people killed in floods in India and Bangladesh. Hundreds of people have been killed in floods in India and Bangladesh. The floods, which have been caused by heavy rains, have also displaced millions of people. Severe drought in Africa threatens food security. A severe drought in Africa is threatening food security for millions of people. The drought has been caused by El Niño, a climate pattern that brings warmer than average temperatures to the Pacific Ocean. UN warns of global food crisis. The United Nations has warned of a global food crisis caused by the war in Ukraine and the drought in Africa. The war has disrupted food exports from Ukraine, a major producer of wheat and corn. COVID-19 cases rise in Europe and Asia. COVID-19 cases are rising in Europe and Asia, as the Omicron subvariant BA.5 becomes dominant. The subvariant is more transmissible than previous versions of the virus. U.S. Supreme Court blocks Biden's vaccine mandate for large businesses. The U.S. Supreme Court has blocked President Biden's vaccine mandate for large businesses, ruling that the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, does not have the authority to impose such a mandate. China's economy grows at slowest pace in 28 years. China's economy grew at its slowest pace in 28 years in the second quarter of 2023, as the country's zero-COVID policy took a toll on growth. The economy grew by 0.4% in the quarter, down from 4.8% in the first quarter. Ethiopia's Tigray rebels say they have seized key town of Dessie. Rebels from Ethiopia's northern Tigray region have claimed to have captured the strategic town of Dessie, which lies on a major road linking the capital Addis Ababa with the north. The government has not confirmed or denied the claim, but has urged civilians to join the fight against the rebels. Elon Musk says he will cut 10% of Tesla's workforce. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, has said that he will cut 10% of the company's workforce. The move comes as Tesla faces production challenges and rising costs. China launches new crewed spacecraft prototype on suborbital flight. China has launched a new crewed spacecraft prototype on a suborbital flight from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in the Gobi Desert. The spacecraft, which resembles a mini space shuttle, is designed to carry up to 6 astronauts or 500 kilograms of cargo to low Earth orbit. The flight was a test of the spacecraft's re-entry and landing capabilities. Netflix loses subscribers for the first time in a decade. Netflix has lost subscribers for the first time in a decade. The streaming giant lost 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter of 2023, and it expects to lose another 2 million subscribers in the second quarter. Blue Origin loses protest of NASA lunar lander contract. Blue Origin has lost its protest of NASA's decision to award a single lunar lander contract to SpaceX earlier this year. The Government Accountability Office, GAO, denied Blue Origin's claim that NASA acted improperly and unfairly in selecting SpaceX's Starship vehicle for the Artemis program. Blue Origin said it was disappointed by the ruling and would continue to advocate for competition in the lunar exploration market. SpaceX launches 53 Starlink satellites, nails rocket landing in thick fog. SpaceX has successfully launched 53 Starlink Internet satellites and landed the Falcon 9 rocket booster in thick fog at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. This was the first West Coast launch and landing for Starlink and the 24th mission for the constellation this year.